JSE-listed ICT company Telkom released their half-year results. That's for the 6 months ended September 2021. The company reports that revenue remained flat at 21.3 billion rand, while headline earnings per share rose by 30.4%. Telkom has continued to invest in its data network, among other areas, recording capital expenditure at 3.6 billion rand. That's up 22.7% in the last period. Last year, the company resolved to suspend its dividend payout for a period, so shareholders won't receive anything this time around. Well, to take us through their results and strategic plans, I'm joined by Sipho Maseko. He's the CEO at Telkom. Thanks very much, Mr. Maseko, for joining us. So you continue to post positive results. Your mobile revenue, for example, rose by 9.7% at 10.4 billion rand. But overall, your revenue was flat. Just unpack that for us, if you will, and what your general feeling is around the metrics that you've released to the market today.
Well, thanks very much for having me on your show. It's been a very difficult year. I mean, the economy continues to be flat. It's been a very flat economic growth, probably for the last 5 years. We haven't seen much growth. COVID complicated things a little bit in terms of further slowdown in the economy. And one of the things that we saw is that our enterprise business, BCX, really suffered from that slowdown, with many enterprises deferring their spend for later on when the economy has recovered, which had a negative impact on us. Secondly, we've had a massive supply chain issue in relation to what is called chipsets, and you see it in many of the items that we order on behalf of our customers. We probably have about 1 billion rands in back order, which has been delayed by the lack of chipsets around the world. And as those begin to be sorted out, we're starting to see that improvement. So that was the second pressure point around the economy. But also we've taken a very aggressive view on a lot of other things as well. We remain quite concerned about the lack of stability in the power grid. So we've had to spend quite a lot of money putting up backup power plants so that we can support towers and exchanges and all of that sort of thing. So it has been a very difficult year, but I think that there was quite a lot of pre-investment as well in the first half, and hopefully as the economy starts to open up in the second half, we'll be able to do a lot better.
Well, thank you for that overview. On the one hand, you do indicate that COVID caused problems, to the economy, but it's been a sort of double-edged sword for you guys, because COVID has actually been a boon for the telecom sector, as there's been that transition towards a more digital reality. But of course, you're fighting ICASA around their approach to cancelling the spectrum that they had given you, the emergency spectrum. Why can't you just wait for the auctioning of the spectrum, which we're expecting to happen anytime soon? And I suppose the problem is that we don't know exactly when.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we certainly don't like to be fighting with the ICASA or the regulator all the time. And litigation is our last resort. The temporary spectrum was made available actually by ICASA, not at our instance, but at their instigation, so that we can help carry the traffic that would have been induced by COVID, and also help carry at least about 1,000 domains for government and public social services that would need a free connection to be able to meet the COVID requirements. And that we did as part of our solidarity with the country and pledging that all of us will put shoulder to the wheel. And we put a lot of capital behind that. And the agreement was very simple. Give us sufficient notice when we have come to the end of COVID, so that we can be able to unwind those positions. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it came as a massive surprise to us when ICASA told us that end of July, just as we're coming out of wave 3 and staring wave 4 in the eyes, that temporary spectrum will be withdrawn and there'll be no discussions about it. And we tried different means to have dialogue with them, and actually even indicated that the State of Disaster Act is still there, and people are still being admitted, and it will be during the time of exams. Learning online is still quite big, and many people are dependent on it. And simply to stop abruptly, we don't think that it will be good for the economy and for society. And that's why we ended up where we have. I'm hoping that we will be able to solve this issue without having to go to court. The matter has been set down for the 15th. There was an attempt yesterday by ICASA to reach out to find a solution, and hopefully we'll find a solution by close of play tomorrow.
Now, overall, when it comes to your capex, that is your capital expenditure going forward for mobile, what does that look like, and how does it compare with your investment in fibre?
Well, mobile capex, we believe that will actually grow going forward. Why do we say that? Data consumption continues to grow. And if you think about it, actually, data is infinite, right? Data is not like voice. With voice, you can only talk to a point until you can't talk no more. Whilst with data, it's infinite. People use it for learning. People use it for work. People use it for entertainment. People use it in all forms of, in all manner of devices as well. So therefore, as we're migrating from getting 4G to be matured, and we're getting into 5G, the level of investment that will be required in the mobile business will grow. And actually, there is a complementarity between mobile and fiber, because 5G will need a lot more fiber to be able to carry the traffic. Cars will be connected, TVs will be connected, every device, watches, everything will be connected, and therefore all of the data would need to be carried somewhere. And we believe that we actually started firstly by driving the fiber connection, and I think that the mobile 5G connection will be coming through so that we can be able to allow South Africa to fully have a fair shot of being one of the early adopters of proper digital going forward.
Yeah. And very lastly, is voice dead? And what's your outlook as we go into 2022?
Well, circuit switched voice is probably dead. People now are using what they call over-the-top voice, whether it's WhatsApp calling, what we're doing today, which is more video-based, all of it, much as people are talking, but it goes through the network as data. Circuit switched voice, I think that will kind of hang in there. You know, things never die completely and disappear. I still have a Beetle of 1968. It probably is the only one in Gauteng, or probably in the inland market. But it never quite disappears. I kind of struggle a little bit to get fuel for it. And I think the same will happen to circuit switched voice, or what people would call landline. It will kind of hang around. I think a couple of people will have it. It will work for them. But I think in the main, the dominant means of communication will be more data-enabled services, of which voice will be just one of the applications alongside others.
Mr. Sipho Maseko, thank you very much.